The sun's up and the wind's blowing in the right direction, so we're going to be getting the anchor up and we're going to head towards Beaufort, which is about 20 miles downwind and downstream. So if all goes well, we should get there in the next 5 to 25 hours. Oriental's been amazing. We were here, I want to say probably about a week, and it was just such an inviting and welcoming community. We were leaving to motor down the ICW down Adams Creek to Beaufort, and before I raised the anchor I thought, let me just test the motor, make sure it's got its go, since we're going to be motoring out of where we are and down that creek rather than sailing. And I turned it on, put in gear, nothing happened. The display won't light up, and nothing, it's just not going. So now we're troubleshooting the motor and trying to do it as quickly as we can because we kind of need to make the tide and sunset. So we shall see. If we don't get out of here today, tomorrow the winds are strong and in the wrong direction. So yeah. So in here, when I turn the power on and off, I can hear the solenoids clicking, so we know we're getting power to the area. And then the controllers have, which are these guys on the side, have a little green LED and that's lighting up, so they're getting power. And we have two little plugs here that are high up. This one's to the control module, and this guy's to the throttle quadrant. I've unplugged them, plugged them back in, checked them for corrosion. Everything looks good. It's just not going. So I called the electrician, Bob Blood, who's a friend of mine, and to see if we can't troubleshoot it and figure out what's going on and get us back going again. Oh, and most importantly, I did check the voltage of the batteries. We have 51.3 volts, so it's not like we're out of power and that's why the motor's not going. So, just waiting to figure it out. Well, we were going to leave this morning. The winds and the current and everything was going in the right direction, but the motor wouldn't go. So we talked to the manufacturer of the motor and we tried to troubleshoot it, and we figured that it is most likely the actual controller to the entire setup, which isn't working. So on Monday, today's Friday, but on Monday they're going to mail a new controller out, and then when we get it we can put it in. Hopefully that fixes the problem and then we can be on our way again. So we're going to be here in Oriental for probably another week or so, which is not a bad spot to be stuck. It's quite nice here. After about a week or so of having the mattress inside but just trying to keep it drying, it's finally dry enough that we're able to go back to our regular bed. So we're really looking forward to it because there's a lot more space than the quarter berth had to offer. So moving back in, getting back, back to normal, all settled in again. It's a nice feeling. Good?
We got chicken eggs from chickens.
Yeah, so they're pastured chickens, which means that they run around free all the time outside. He says that he locks them up at night, that way the coyotes don't eat them. But otherwise they're out running amok.
Yay.
So they're
happy chicken eggs.
Happy chicken eggs, yes. We don't want to row back to the boat yet, so we're just gonna put the eggs in the dinghy.
After breakfast, we strode over to the free 48-hour dock or pier, and we met some really cool friends. We were able to talk with them all day, and then we ended up going to a fun party at the brewery with them later.
Yes! 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 Candy.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? No, sorry, sweetie. That's all spike.
There's just a slight change in how things are going. So the motor's on the fritz, parts are being shipped, all that's fine. We're anchored in a safe harbor. The big issue is that there's a storm that's coming through. It's going to have winds of about 30 knots in here, so I can only imagine how powerful it would be out where it's not protected. And the way the winds blew, it actually pushed our keel into a shoal and we're aground. So the wind's hitting us kind of on our stern quarter like if we were on a broad reach. So we're just heeling over a bit as the tide seems to be going out. So we're just riding it out. It's a little choppy on the stern, but it's no big deal because we've been in worse. And that's it. So we're just hanging out. Maddie's making some tea, and then we're gonna sit back and watch a movie. This is the importance of always tying your stuff up on the deck. We're currently in a pretty good blow in our anchorage, and we're aground, so we can't actually swing to the wind. But our dinghy that we have on the deck is inflatable, and it has been blown off the deck. But luckily, we have it tied to the mast, so that way it can't be lost. A really good thing with all this rain is that it's raining and the salt's been washed off the deck, so we get to open up our rain collector and fill our water tanks. So now we don't have to actually shuttle cans back and forth from shore. So we just open them up and the water falls in. The dinghy was on the deck and we had the painter tied to a cleat on the mast. And this is the part that attaches to the painter onto the dinghy. So that's a problem. Luckily, downwind from us is a rock jetty. And the dinghy is currently wedged between that giant barge and that pier. So I'm gonna get our paddleboard out and go over and try and recover it.
Our neighbor there was nice enough to lend his dinghy for the task of retrieving our dinghy. Apparently the patch that was holding the rope that was attached to our boat broke off in the night, and luckily the dinghy went straight in between those two boats, although it seems like Herbie's having trouble getting it out.
Obviously, just throwing a little bow line over the dinghy didn't hold it in the wind, so this time we actually tied it down well, and it didn't blow away.
In order to leave the boat, we are going to go ahead and set up a mooring.
So now we have the line run all the way out to the stern anchor line, and I'm gonna walk it up to the bow and tie it off to a cleat for right now.
We are about to turn right onto Chickenfoot Road.
Best name ever for a road.
Cheers! Yeah! Thanks so much for watching. And if you want to become a sailing buddy, you can click the link down below to our Patreon account.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And when you click subscribe, make sure you click on the little bell in the annotation. That way you get notifications as soon as our next video is uploaded.
Thanks so much.